This is LTV.
Inside Leominster is brought to you in part through the generous support of N.P. Crowley Company Incorporated and by DeCarolis Insurance Agency Incorporated, DeCarolisinsuranceagency.com, and by Enterprise Bank. Enterprise Bank, create success, enterprisebanking.com.
Good Thursday afternoon, and welcome to Inside Leominster. My name is Dean Mazzarella, Mayor of the city, and we get together every Thursday around 4 o'clock. Occasionally we do a show like Christmas time when Santa's here or other things, but we're generally here at 4 o'clock on a Thursday. And we do a live show, and you can call in and ask any question you'd like at 978-534-1626. I'll give you a little lineup tonight as to who our guests will be for the next 3 weeks. Tonight we have our state auditor, Diana DiZoglio, and she's on her way. Next week we'll have the Recreation Department talking about all the spring programs that they have, and there are many. And then the following week we'll have Bay State Racing. They'll be here to explain their proposal. And so a busy 3 weeks. And yes, the state auditor is on their way. But first, let's go to somebody else pretty important around these parts. It's Art from the Art Report.
Yes, sir.
Good after.
Well, guess what?
What?
Nashua, New Hampshire has a casino now.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
They sent me a postcard, and it says, largest casino in New Hampshire. And I think they're the only one.
Yeah, it's like
it's got 1,100 gaming machines, 1,100 slots. And I think Foxwoods has got like 10,000.
Yeah.
So this is a real tiny, it's in the Nashua Mall.
Yeah.
And March 5th at 9 o'clock in the morning they open up. I will not be in line, thank you.
Yeah.
Too small.
Yeah. Well, you know me, I'm not a gambler. I've been to Scarborough a few times and to Rockingham. $2 bet. Big player.
Yeah, there you go.
I work hard for my money. There's no way I'm going to take risks with my money.
Well, you know what? That's the way it's my entertainment. There's nothing
I know.
else for me to
No,
do.
I have no issue with that.
When Rita and I would go, she had a great philosophy about the whole thing. People would say, "You go quite often," and she said, "We only take what we can afford to lose."
Right. And that's the thing is.
And with that headset, if she made $25, she was happy all week, and I could count on extra meatballs.
That's a deal. But,
how I miss her meatballs.
Yeah, of course. The whole thing is for some people who are disciplined, and I guess obviously we know there are gamblers that are addicted and they spend the weekly check and don't bring any money home and they think they're going to make it big. I get that. So I would never argue with anybody who's had a family member with a gambling addiction and are against casinos. We went through the same thing when we were talking about bringing the casino here, and I get it. I would never have an argument with anybody when it comes to something around that. But I work too hard for my money, and but that's not my recreational thing either. Going to a casino, you know what I mean? But I think most everybody I know is disciplined about it. You're right. They spend what they can afford to spend, right?
Yeah, it's how and like myself now, I've only been once in the last year. And I didn't enjoy it because I was alone.
Right.
And,
of course.
I got to adjust how I do that. And we never went that frequently when we were together and when she was alive. And we made sure that, you know, she saved all her bottles and pennies. It adds up. And it was our entertainment, like I said.
Sure.
And we had some wonderful experiences with shows there.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
One of the greatest shows, I think we've been 6 times, the Golden Boys of Bandstand. It was Bobby Rydell, God rest his soul, Frankie Avalon, and Fabian.
Wow.
And they would come out, and part of the show, Fabian would say, any twisters out there, come on up on the stage. Well, I love to dance. So the first time I did it, I'll never forget it. And we were right on our table was right against the stage. I ran up there and Rita started yelling, "What are you bleeping doing up there?" But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And,
no, I know.
the last time her and I went, they were there. The last time we went to a show there, they were there. And Frankie Avalon came down off the stage to our table and sang Venus to Rita.
Wow.
And she took that, she talked about that forever. He held her hand and sang Venus, and she just sitting there, and she represented Leominster quite well at that particular point.
And you were trying to
That was a good time.
upstage him ever since.
That was a good time.
Well, we're going to have a good time
Other
here.
than that,
We're going to have a good time this afternoon because we have the state auditor here, and I don't know if you've ever seen her, but she is an advocate for the citizens of Massachusetts in all of the right ways.
well, that's a good thing.
Yes, very much.
That's a good thing, especially with me about to sell the house.
Yep.
I didn't realize I was going to get whacked with taxes.
Yeah, they get you every different way.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was kind of set. I went, huh? I was talking to my accountant. I said, what?
Yeah, but I thought because you own the house for after 5 years, there is no tax. No?
Well, we've owned it for,
Right.
oh God, 30 years.
Right. So I thought there was no, but I'm not an accountant.
Yeah. So, hey, you know, it is what it is.
It is.
I'll do what I got to do, and don't have to like it, but that's okay. I mean, you can. Some people like canning of spaghetti and get spaghetti in a can.
Right.
That was outlawed in this house.
All right.
Other than that, I'm going to let you go.
All right.
All right. Listening to the state auditor.
Nice to chat with you.
I pay my taxes. I'm a good guy.
You're a good. You're a taxpayer in good standing.
That's right. And if she's available, tell her I'll meet her after the show.
All right.
Good night.
All right, Art. That was Art from the Art Report, 978-534-1626. And we will be taking questions for the people, for the presenters from the Bay State Gaming thing. And welcome. And you could call in live. It's not a debate. We're not going to go back and forth. You can call and say, hey, what's the story with the, this or that, or what, it's their it's their proposal. And somebody said today, sent me an email in opposition of it, of the Bay State Racing program, and said, I can't believe you guys would even consider it. I said, it's not my, if it's my property and somebody approaches me and I say, yeah, I don't think it's, but it's not. It's their plan to do something in the city. And just think of how many other people who have called me and said, I'm in support of this, would be upset saying, what right did you have not to allow them to make a proposal to the city, right? I mean, so understand it that way. And I think anybody else, when I've explained that to them, says, no, you're right. I mean, they have a right to come in and make a proposal. All right, you want to do, while we're waiting, you want to do? Yeah, let's do Pop Goes the Culture here, since we got all this new stuff going on.
They can also email us.
Yeah, you can email us. We'll put it all up there, right, so people can see?
Yep. Check our Facebook tomorrow morning.
Okay, let's get going. Let's see. All right, so who's from Leominster? Well, look at who, they won last night, the Thunder. They beat the Celtics, Mark Daigneault. Let's see who else. Not normally, Victoria Aviar.
You got it right.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you got your clicker.
Oh, I'm in Spacey. I was trying to look up something else for you guys while you're here. Mark Dagnall, head coach of the Oklahoma City Thunder, was born in Leominster. It is a Leominster High School graduated. That's right. He played basketball for Leominster High. Mark Dagnall. Boy, here's a guy that looks like his mother and his father. No, really. I mean, some kids look like their mother or father. Here's a guy that looks like both. What is not the state symbol? I would say that Morgan horse is probably not the state symbol. Massachusetts state bird is the chickadee. New York state's bird is the eastern bluebird. So it's the name of it, so it's the eastern bluebird. Yeah. Well, we're east. Who won the Oscar? Best actor, best animated film. Am I supposed to tell you which one?
These all won.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I was going to pick out the winner when they all won. All right, so let's go there. Non-news. Daredevil, Born Again, is Disney's biggest hit of the 2025 with 7.5 million views after the first episode leaked. They didn't leak it. They leaked it on purpose, leading to excitement from fans. CW's live-action Powerful Girls reboot canceled after the first episode footage was leaked.
They tried pulling a Deadpool.
Yeah. That's, The Oscars had the highest viewership ratings in 5 years. That is attributed to the what? I can't read that.
To Conan O'Brien.
Conan O'Brien. People like Conan.
Massachusetts own Conan
Well, I think people sometimes like the Super Bowl, people watch just for the for the entertainment at halftime, and then they click off, right? So that happens. And Disney lost the Best Animated Feature Oscar for third year in a row. Flo, an India film, won, making it the first India film to do so. Indie, I'm sorry. Yeah. Even 5 years later, after COVID, movie theaters are still struggling. Winner of Best Director, Sean Baker, mentioned the death of a movie theaters in his Oscar speech. Yeah, movies theaters just, come on, you get one of those big television sets, you can sit in your house. I don't know, but there is something special about it. If there was a good movie, I would go. I just don't know that, you know what I mean? The Titanic, we all know what happens at the end. How many ways can you spin it? But if there was a good movie that everybody went and said, oh, you got to go see the movie, I'd go. It is a nice experience to go. And it's a good place to take a nap. Dolly Parton releases her new song called If You Hadn't Been There, honoring her late husband, Carl Dean. And you know how they met? At a laundromat.
Really?
Yes. And also, Jolene was a song that she wrote about her husband because the bank that he used to go to, there's a girl named Jolene that used to pay him a lot of attention. So he used to go to the bank a lot. So she wrote the song Jolene. Did you know that?
I didn't know that to an extent.
Well, there you go.
There was a woman I didn't know she worked at.
Oh, tonight, we're going to be taping tonight, but tonight is the Youth Art Show at City Hall. So we'll be taping. We'll go up to the kids. They tell us where their artwork is, explain what it is, who their teacher was, where they go to school, if they're homeschooled, all of that. And we try to interview as many kids as possible. This artwork is, I got a chance to see it today and yesterday, remarkable. These kids are talented. These are the best of the best. And so 6 o'clock tonight till 7:30. We'll be there at 6. You guys coming at 6?
It's going to be Johannes and Rick.
Johannes and Rick are coming. Thank you, guys. You'll love it. It's nothing like talking to the kids. They're just superb. And so we'll be there tonight. But you can come see the artwork anytime. It'll be there up until the 26th, did I say? So if City Hall's open, come on in. So maybe you missed it tonight. Maybe you couldn't make it, or grandparents want to come out and see it, but they couldn't get here tonight. Whatever the situation might be, then don't worry about it. It's open.
Going to be.
And you're going to film it.
Yeah, and it's going to be an online exclusive. So come on, go to the Facebook page,
Wow.
YouTube page, VOD before.
Online exclusive here at ltv.com.
Yep. So before it goes on the channel for the schedule, it's going to be.
It's spring when the tennis and pickleball courts are now open.
Oh, yeah.
And don't forget, Leominster Youth Art Shows tonight. It goes to the 26th. But the pizza crawl, selling tons, I say, of tickets. And the pizza crawl starts on the 16th, which is this coming Sunday. Goes to the 22nd. It's $3 to get a ticket, and then $1 every time you go to get a piece of pizza. And then on the back side of the ticket, you tell us who your favorite pizza place is. And then we give the award. like the award. And also coming up on the 20th, which is next week, is the Indoor Farmers Market, 4 to 6 o'clock. Don't forget, we're having a blood drive, and we're also having, what else is happening? Yeah, this is what the ticket looks like. So if you come into our office to get those tickets. We're also having a blood drive coming up. We also have a blood pressure clinic that's going on right now, free at City Hall. And don't forget, during Lent, and even if you don't practice Lent, over at St. Cecilia's, they do Lantern soup suppers 4 to 7 o'clock over there at the, I guess it's the hall, downstairs from the school. Yeah. And pretty good, huh? They're raising money for St. Vincent de Paul. And 4 to 7 o'clock, dessert and beverage included. And over at St. Anna's, 4 o'clock to 7, they do the fish. Some people don't have fish. They're allergic to fish. They don't like fish. They got pasta. It's the best, I don't know, how much is it? It's like $14 or something. It's the best $14 you're going to spend over there at St. Anna's on Friday nights. So tomorrow night, okay? Best food. And you may go there and say, oh, there's a lot of people here, and there's a lot of people in line. They'll move you right through. Promise. Evening ride service. This is a new service from Mart, and they're going to be going 7 days a week, 7 to midnight. So if you need to get somewhere, it's $2. And you just call this phone number, 978-345-7711, extension 3. And if I talk too fast and you need information, you call our office tomorrow anytime, 978-534-7500, extension 0, or the website. The website, leominster-ma.gov, is basically like City Hall 24/7. Okay? So we have a household hazardous waste collection day coming up this Saturday. And it's 9 to 12. You do not need to have, you don't need to pre-register, but you do need to just show your license so we know you're from Leominster. And you can go to our website again, leominster-ma.gov, and it'll tell you what we do take. There's a long list of things we take, and then there's a long list of things that we don't take. They're having a spring safety resource fair put on by Leominster CPAC. It's coming up, Touch a Truck, free family event, State Police, the YMCA will be there, Leominster Fire, Leominster Police. It's coming up Saturday, March 22nd from 1 to 3 at the high school, and it's free. Lots of cool stuff there, okay? Yeah, we're having a blood drive coming up on March 25th. We still have 11 spots to fill, 9 to 2:30, and it's, call our office, we'll get you the information. Look at all the stuff going on, huh? Easter egg hunt. I love these things. Easter egg hunt. Leominster United Church, Methodist Church up there at Hall in Merriam Ave. It's going to be Saturday, April 12th from 10 to 12. Then we're having our third annual Leominster Health and Wellness Fair at City Hall, May 1st, 6 to 8 o'clock. Vendors, resources, free goodies, and do-it-yourself May basket. Don't forget, May 1st is May Day. And if you're going around your yard, snow's melting, you're finding twigs and branches, break them all up, take them down to the transfer station, 22 Jungle Road here in Leominster, across from Walmart, beside of Dr. Colarusso, Central Mass Oral, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 8 to 12, and it's free. Just don't come down with like trees, like this big. And don't forget, you get a free pass at the public library. Did you know that? Free pass at the public library. Go to all these museums around the state. Good stuff. So much. Some are hiring now for the rec department. Kids, you're looking for a job, you're in college, high school, call the rec department, get you signed up, or go to the website. It's happening in Leominster. It's a Facebook page. If you have one, it tells you everything that's happening day by day. And if not, you can pick up a printed version, a really high quality printed version of everything going on. Little stories in there too about what's happening in the month of March. Imagine it's the month of March. 978-534-1626 if you have any questions. The state auditor will be here shortly. I did say the St. Anna's Lanterns 4 to 7 o'clock downstairs from St. Anna's Church. They do this all the way up until the 11th, which is a Friday of the month of April, which coincides right with Easter weekend. All right, let's do some slides if you guys are ready back there. We might even have pictures of the week. Let's let you know what's happening in the world of COVID. 691 cases around the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in the last 7 days. 6 cases here in Leominster, 10 deaths. 1 is too many. It's International Every Girl Wins Day today. It's International School Meals Day, Canine Veterans Day, National Coconut Torte Day, National Earmuff Day. It's kind of late for that, isn't it? Earmuffs. National Good Samaritan Day, Popcorn Lovers Day, and Smart and Sexy Day. On this day in history, 1965, 8 Days a Week was the #1 song by the Beatles. 1970, Digital Equipment Company introduces the PDP-11 microcomputer. 1982, ABC crime drama T.J. Hooker premieres on what was it? ABC. 1986, Microsoft has its initial public offering. In 1987, John Gotti, boss of the Gambino family, is acquitted of racketeering. And then in 2004, Luciano Pavarotti performs his last opera at New York Metropolitan Theater. And in 2019, members of the New York Gambino family, a member of the family, Frank Cali, shot dead outside his home. It's the first killing of a high-ranking mobster since 1985. Do we have pictures of the week? First brush fire of 2025. High warnings, by the way, between the wind and the dryness out there. You know, I know you think you're getting rid of some brush, but it does pick up quick. Also, high wind power outages. We got our share of 68-mile-an-hour winds 2 weeks ago. Last week wasn't as bad, but we did have some power outages. Tennis and pickleball open for the season over there at Doyle Field. Pilgrim Church Tea Committee. They did a wonderful job. They had over 100 people at their tea party. And the very talented Beth Wilson was our stewardess for the tea, and she was in character. Like, you couldn't get her out of character for that event. She was deep into it. Thank you. And a great time was had by all at the church tea. Look at that. Look how many people are there. And they had a bagpiper. What a cool thing. An afternoon of music with Spanish American Center. And they had some musicians come in and talk about the instrument that they play, and they played music. It was really good. It's really, really good. Fun at crypto event. And they had an open house over there at the Bitcoin Center Club over there at where the old Garapies was. And it's a pretty interesting concept and everything. And it's like a big club inside. Pretty cool. Getting ready for the art show. That's a little teaser right there. But that's what you're going to see in just a little sample of it. And first in the state, every year, I just want to let the state auditor know the first, even though she's from Methuen, the first pansies or the first plants planted in the state of Massachusetts, right here in Leominster, Mass. All right, is she ready? Is she here? All right, let's take a quick break back there at the console, and then we'll be right back with our state auditor, Diana DiZoglio. How's that? All right, be right back.
My name is Donna Fortunato, and my business is Belladonna Consignment Boutique. I've been in retail management all my life. I actually got unemployed, and I was working for a little shop, local, and people just kept coming in saying, "Are you the owner? You acted." And then it was to the point where people were saying, "You should open your own. You should open your own." So I was like, okay. The higher power, like Dean said, he told me to open my own shop. So I opened my own shop, and it's almost 10 years in October. I like the repurpose and recycling. I like one-of-a-kind items. Because people come in and they're like, "Oh, one-of-a-kind items." I do have a lot of other items in the store that have a good size run, but that's besides the consignment part. That's the boutique part. So I like a little variety in the shop. My personal opinion is consignment is like the one-of-a-kind items where you kind of find rare looking, or vintage. I don't have a lot of vintage items. The boutique is, the cleanliness, the neatness, the personal items, as in like brand new items, I should say, the brand new items that I can get from other vendors. I do work with a girl in Leominster. She makes my jewelry, so she's like a vendor. So it's brand new and not consignment. And I love supporting. I do not shop at the big chains. I'm all about small businesses because I am a small business, so I want people to support me too. I'm a very, I love working with customers, and you don't see customer service a lot lately, especially when the girls come in here for prom. I love working with them one-on-one. When they come out and they start crying, and then the mother starts crying, and then the father started crying. This happened in my old location, and I was like, oh my word, they're gonna make me cry. That was one moment in the prom, season that really was like, wow, the whole family started crying because they were so happy that she picked the dress. So I was previously in Westminster for 9 years. I've been dying to get back to my roots. I lived right up the street, so I was born and raised here. The community. You can't ask for a better community. It's great being here in Leominster because you got the support of you guys, the mayor, everybody at the city hall. So it's great because, I needed that. Yeah.
All right, we're back here at Inside Leominster, and it's those small businesses that are the economic engine for the city, and they put their life and soul into those small businesses. She's right downtown, right next to where Ruth Lee used to be, right next to, I guess it would be, what's the name of the pizza place that why is it? Roasted Peppers. Why did I forget that? They have one in Maynard too. And then, it's right in that strip there, and she is immaculate and clean, right? You've been in there. Oh, yeah. Oh my word. There's no dust in that place. Just those windows are immaculate, and she's very picky, but she's very conscious of the pricing. And go in and support a small business owner. Doesn't mean you have to go there every day or spend thousands of dollars. Just, you sprinkle it around a little bit, and you'd be surprised what happens. Well, our next guest is from a community kind of like Leominster, about the same size, and a lot of similarities in the city of Methuen. And she's our state auditor now, and her name is Diana DiZoglio. And welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Mayor, for having me. Lots of similarities. Yeah. Lots of Italian-American elected officials hanging out in Methuen, too.
When they transferred from a town to a city, the first mayor was?
Dennis DiZoglio.
Is he related to you?
He is. He is my cousin.
Cousin? What a good guy.
He is such a wonderful human. He's been a great mentor, a good friend. And yes, I am very blessed to have a very extensive network of many, many cousins on both my Italian and Greek sides of my family.
And what's interesting is they decided when they passed the new charter that they would do like term limits.
Yes.
But sometimes it backfires because you get somebody and then they got to leave and they've done a good job. And in the case of Dennis, he did a really good job, but it was like, time up, you got to go.
It goes by quickly. It goes by quickly for sure, yeah. So he put in his service, and then it was interesting. We had another Italian-American mayor shortly after, Mayor Manzi.
I know Mayor
Manzi. So you have to come into Methuen and hang out with us sometime.
I go through once in a while.
Too.
Oh, no, I've been to their big festival of trees. We have a big one here. I've been out there. I'm all over the place. I do labor management stuff for cities, so I get to see a lot of the cities, just like you do, only in a different aspect,
Yes, lots of traveling.
So you have a long history in public service, but you didn't really become stagnant anywhere. You've moved around and had many positions along the way before you ran for state auditor.
Yes, so thank you for the invitation to talk to people today about who I am and what I do. I appreciate it.
And we can talk about anything. We don't have to just talk about like headlines like, it's the law. There's a lady that's taken on the entire State House. The whole State House you're taking on.
Well, I mean, look, it is the law. 72% of Massachusetts voters went out during the November election period and voted to audit the state legislature. I happen to be your auditor. Hi, my name's Diana DiZoglio, and our office is simply trying to follow the law that you just voted for with a 72% margin, but unfortunately, the Speaker of the House, the Senate President, and the legislature are refusing to allow our office to conduct the audit that you voted for. in a very democratic process, in a process where you have an independently elected auditor like myself. We're just trying to do our job. It's been very challenging to do so, however.
It's kind of strange because the first thing that comes to my mind is, well, maybe it's just preservation of past practice or something for them. But it does, I have heard people say, well, it makes me think they're hiding something if they don't want to be audited. And my feeling is all of government should be open for people to ask for Freedom of Information Act. We spend a lot of time as communities fulfilling the complying with the Freedom of Information Act.
Absolutely.
It is amazing how much.
Mayor, you are subject, as am I,
Yes.
to the public information, to the public records laws.
Right.
And then you are subject to the open meeting laws as
Sure.
well. So when you have meetings and, when there are enough people there and you're discussing official business, that's done out in the open, and
Right.
the public can attend or watch and participate in that manner, just for the sake of basic transparency, accountability. And it's not always easy to, get all these records together and what have you.
Sometimes
right?
painful.
Sometimes it can take a long
Yeah.
time, a lot of your resources, but the law is there and you do follow the law. The legislature exempts themselves from the public records law that they hold municipalities like Leominster to.
Which is kind of bizarre because they passed the law that makes us comply, but then they don't have to comply.
Correct.
And that
correct.
gets people all upset. They're like, well that's kind of strange.
Let's be real. We can be candid here. It's hypocrisy to say that everybody else has to follow this law, but not you. I often say, it's very interesting because my office audits every other entity in the Commonwealth that is state funded. We have a list of over 200 entities that we audit. Yeah. And the legislature is simply saying, an audit for thee, but not for me, is what they're saying.
978-534-1626. Just so you know, somebody can call in, but you don't care.
Oh, thanks for that tidbit of information live on television right now. I appreciate that.
I'm sorry.
Just kidding.
72%, that's a lot. Nothing passes with 72%. Charlie Baker didn't even get 72%
Mayor,
in his bed day.
if you and I could win our elections by 72% of the vote, we would be just thriving that day.
Absolutely.
Of the election day.
And 72% said, look, this is what we want to happen. So how have they got around it? If we passed it, is it just a vote? It's non-binding?
Legislators just went in the House of Representatives and they actually voted against following the audit law that's 72% of the Commonwealth. By the way, every single city and town in Massachusetts voted yes on this, okay?
Right.
It won in every single community. 351 cities and towns in the Commonwealth. It did not lose in one of those cities and towns. Everybody, who has supported this, they voted, they knew what they were voting for. It was very clear. It was very easy to understand. This was one of the easier to understand issues.
On this issue going around the state.
Not just me.
Well,
not
I'm
just
just
me.
saying,
Yeah,
but you kind of led the effort, right?
I led the effort because I had actually, when I ran for this seat originally, I had made it part of my campaign platform. Eventually, once I heard from people saying we want the legislature to be audited, I said, sure, I will add that to my platform. And I campaigned on auditing the state legislature when I asked for your vote for auditor. After I won the election back in 2022, I started the job and I shortly after began to make that attempt to audit the legislature to make true on that campaign promise. But they refused to comply. And then when I asked the Attorney General to help me to sue the legislature to ensure compliance, because we had actually audited the legislature over 100 times previously. So this is a newer thing that they're refusing to be audited.
So they used to do it, then they stopped doing it.
They used to always get audited. Joe DiNucci is actually the one who had battled one of the speakers before I ever came along, and running for office was even a twinkle in my eye. Former auditor Joe DiNucci actually took on the Speaker of the House at that time, who had refused to be audited. And Joe was essentially like, hey, look this is something that we've always done. What do you mean we can't conduct an audit? And Joe DiNucci actually pushed back. Subsequently, years later, it just kind of
became
came to be
practice.
Yeah, it became kind of the practice that they fell into, saying, well, one speaker didn't want to comply, so the next speaker didn't want to comply.
Optional.
Right, and they kind of came up with this
So what about other
rhetoric
states?
around it
What
being
happens in
optional.
other states? You must know about this.
Yeah, so many other states do have audits of the state legislature, and I actually spoke to
But everybody gets audited.
other folks who said
everybody gets
that
audited.
they couldn't believe that this was such a big deal
Yeah.
in Massachusetts. In Connecticut, the state auditor there, when I spoke with him, he said, what's going on up there in Massachusetts? And I said, well, I'm trying to do my job.
Yeah.
And he said, I can't get press coverage even if I try around my audits of the state legislature.
Nobody
They're
knows.
so boring.
Yeah.
He goes, it's just, you look at the books, you do your job, you put out an analysis of the processes and procedures.
Right. And you're not insinuating that anything's
because
wrong.
it's just a matter of routine.
Yeah, to
So
keep everybody honest.
What's the big deal up there?
Yeah.
And you know what I said? I said, well, I'd love to know what the big deal is, because it is just an audit. It is not an FBI investigation.
Right.
And Mayor, you know what? I think a lot of folks, because of how much pushback they've given us on this issue, a lot of folks might think that it's, more investigatory than it actually is. We don't conduct FBI-like investigations in the Office of State Auditor.
Right.
We can't go in, nor would we want to, and toss desks and take people's cell phones or anything like that. Nothing like that.
Right.
We simply look at the finances and then the processes and the procedures.
Where they're spending our money.
Like other audits do.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
So, if there's nothing to hide, open up the doors, let the sunlight in, and let's work together to make government work better. That's the mission of the auditor's office, and it's our mission statement. Make government work better. It's up on our website, and that's what we do. Look, when we go into different state entities and we conduct an audit, sure, a lot of times we'll find challenges in the entity that we are auditing. But it is for the purpose of shining a light on where we can do better so that taxpayers are better served and so that folks know what's going on with their tax dollars. It's to help these government agencies and departments to do better and to be better on all of y'all's behalf. So we are just trying to do our jobs. We are being prevented from doing our jobs. And unfortunately, even though we've repeatedly been requesting that the Attorney General help us to bring this issue to court, we haven't gotten any luck in getting her to represent the 72% of voters in enforcing what is no longer up for debate. This is the law.
It's like, this is what people want to do.
This is the law.
So we're going to take a vote to decide whether or not we're going to enforce this one.
We already took a vote.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying they took a vote.
Yes, exactly.
To say, we're going to ignore the caller. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good afternoon, Mayor.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Madam Auditor. Pleasure to hear that you are in the fine city of Leominster this afternoon.
Absolutely.
And I'm one of the 72% that voted to audit the legislature, and rather disappointed that they're thumbing their nose at the citizens of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I must say, though, I admire your tenacity. I knew Joe DiNucci a little bit. He was a semi-pro boxer, and I think you might be tougher than Joe.
She is. I knew Joe, too, and she's tougher. She don't back down.
We as the Italian Americans in office, we're very loud. I'll give you that. We're very
That's why
loud.
I told her, don't move your arms or hands, just hold on to the cup.
Exactly. Yeah. See, they gave me the coffee mug as a prop, so I wouldn't be waving my hands around as much. See?
All right. Well, I
Thank you.
want to wish you the best of luck in your efforts, and have a wonderful day, and enjoy your stay in Leominster.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Cole. So I don't want to just, kidnap you here for the whole time talking about this, because there's other things. I mean, so what else? I mean, you were, let's see, you were a former state senator, state rep, chief of staff for the president of the, who were you chief of staff for?
President Ed Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
He's the international president
He's a good
of the
guy.
firefighters.
I like Ed.
He is a Dorchester guy, salt of the earth, and honestly, took a chance on a kid like me when I went and applied for the job.
Yeah,
offered me the job as his chief of staff. And look, a little bit about myself, everybody. I was born to a 17-year-old single mother. I grew up housing insecure. My mother and I couch surfed for a lot of my childhood. And I was very grateful to, and just blessed to have had an extensive, circle of cousins and aunts and uncles and friends in our community who really helped to raise me alongside of my young mom. She was a nurse's aide raising me on her own and did the best that she could. I ended up going through and graduating from Methuen Public Schools, Methuen High School, I went off to Middlesex Community College.
Which is a good school.
Which was
Community
an associate's
college
degree.
Is a really good
Let me
schools.
tell you something, helped to change my life. It was an associate's degree that I was able to afford thanks to our state's investments and families just like mine. I'm a big supporter of community colleges. And look, from there, I earned a scholarship to become the first in my family to graduate. And knowing that it was others' investments in me that allowed for me to be able to succeed in some sort of way really inspired me to give back to my community in whatever way I could. And Mayor, since I couldn't do so financially, I went into community service and I worked at nonprofits, youth centers, community centers. I served at the United Teen Equality Center in the city of Lowell. I helped to run after-school programs at Girls Inc. With their younger girls and do those programs. But I also was waitressing, cleaning houses to make ends meet, because as many working families know, you might love what you do for your day job, but it doesn't always afford you with the opportunity
so you have to do other things.
To live with a standard of dignity in the community you're working hard to serve in. And it was during that time I got offered a job at the State House in Boston. And full disclosure, I had no idea what a state representative did at that time. But I speak fluent Spanish, and I came from the community, and the state rep said, hey, I need somebody who has deep ties in this community. Hired me.
Who'd you work for?
And I ended up going to work, a representative back then who was actually no longer, was one-termer, but I ended up going to work at the State House and serving as a legislative aide, learned about all the great things that our state government can do to invest in our communities. And I also learned about some areas of much needed improvement at our State House in areas such as transparency, accountability, accessibility. And I ended up eventually, running for office myself, becoming the youngest woman serving in the House of Representatives at that time. Moved on to the state Senate 6 years later, where I served as a senator, as the youngest woman serving there for the whole time I was there. And now I'm your youngest serving constitutional officer. So I'm sure that has nothing to do with why everyone's so grateful to hear from me up at the State House about all the changes that we're trying to make.
After all this time, there's other issues that are, that are important to you. I think, we've talked about here on the show, when it comes to illegal immigration, in the sense the bad guys that are on the street, we all want to get them off the street. I don't think I've run into a person yet that said, we got to get these people off the street. They're bad guys with criminal records. They had criminal records back there. We had a guy, 2 or 3 years ago, been deported because he was a bad guy 2 and 3 times, and he ended up back here. So I think we agree on some of those things. But what are some of the issues that you're passionate about? This is obviously something that you're the poster child for this. You had a huge group of people. Like, I couldn't go to a grocery store anywhere without people out there saying, hey, you want to sign on to this? They were everywhere.
A lot of people have heard about the audit of the legislature, and just, speaking of the migrant, situation in Massachusetts, and, tying that in with even just the housing crisis, when I talk about these types of issues, I talk about it from the perspective of being the auditor, right? And what is my role in helping our state, right? And our office is actually conducting, as we speak, an audit of the emergency shelter system to look at some of the challenges with transparency and accountability.
Well, some places are saying they didn't even bid it out. They didn't look for pricing. They just went ahead and said, what's your rate? We'll just pay the rate. Now, that may have been a kind of emergency thing, like, hey, we've got a bunch of people that are sleeping on the sidewalk. I need to put them somewhere. Therefore, they kind of exercise the emergency clause.
We've heard from folks about their concerns with, different contracts and different issues and just different challenges overall. Full disclosure, our office isn't able to do a full financial forensic audit. That's not what our office is staffed or resourced or trained to do. Overall, we actually do what's called performance audits. And in those performance audits, we are resourced, not that great recently. It hasn't helped that the legislature is not my biggest fan during this moment regarding getting our budget. But we are doing what we can, where we are, with what we have, and we are looking into some of those higher risk areas that have been raised to us, while simultaneously, we've put together a request, so to speak, or just an FYI for the legislature about what it would cost and what resources it would take in order to do a full comprehensive forensic financial audit. And we've been speaking, I think we spoke with, I believe it was KPMG or a very prominent firm that we spoke to about how much that would have cost. But we are doing our part in the auditor's office and looking at some of those higher risk areas, and hopefully that will be released sooner than later.
And I know audit is really good because, for myself, I've obviously been here a while, but it's an education because you understand the principles of, look, this isn't your money. These are taxpayers' dollars, and if somebody opens a file or looks into something, you want to be able to see that, whether it's procurement, purchasing, that you were fair, that you opened it up so other people could see that something was out to bid, and that you were fair in picking the person that got the bid.
Right.
And it's all about that public perception of things.
Transparency and accountability are nonpartisan issues. I mean, it is one of the reasons.
Or even how you handle. So we've had situations where we had our own audit done, and they're like, you know what, you should probably have another person who signs off, and you don't think about this stuff. And I sign off, the auditor, our city auditor, comptroller might sign off. There might be the department signs off. So internally, I want that. I want there to be the system in there that is not only the checks and balances, but that's really the safety, because it's safety for me too, because you could make a mistake, not purposely make a mistake, but you could make a mistake, but there's somebody there to catch it in the event that something like that happens. So audits are really good.
Checks and balances, right? Checks and balances are a good thing, and they're there to protect us, right, Mayor? I mean, it's not easy to take constructive feedback all the time, right? I mean, nobody wants to hear about the things that they're doing that are potentially not that great or that need improvement.
Well,
even
I wouldn't mind, because if it's going to help, you know what I mean? I wouldn't mind somebody telling me I have spaghetti on my nose or I have peanut butter coming off my lip.
And you do come to realize that you'd rather get the constructive feedback than go out there with asparagus in your teeth, right? I mean, you'd rather hear it in advance. So that's kind of what these audits are like. It might not be the funnest thing to go through it, but they serve to help to protect our state departments and the people who work there. And look, no state department or state agency is perfect and going to always get a perfect score, because guess what? Humans and not robots work there, right? And we are all infallible, and none of us is perfect. But when you take these audits, this is just one additional layer of a check and part of a system of checks and balances that helps make government work better, and it helps to protect those employees to say, hey, this account wasn't reconciled appropriately. We need to look for those receipts, or this needs to be better documented because problems could arise, or you didn't follow the procurement process the way you should have, and it was done unlawfully.
Even the OCCP there, the for political campaigns and all that.
OCPF,
yes. Sometimes they'll send you things back saying, hey, where's the receipt for this? That's a good thing. Like, I want that.
Happens all the time with me.
So, you
and
forget
somebody
to put
said to me,
in.
well, you need to make sure that that's not happening to you. And I said to them, I said, I view the Office of Campaign and Political Finance like a tremendous resource that is a blessing to me.
Keeping me out of trouble.
Exactly.
Trouble I didn't know I was going to get in because I didn't really know about it.
They let me know if, because we have volunteers helping. It's an off election year. Especially if it's an off-election year, you don't necessarily have paid staff on all the time. So you have people volunteering to help out, help you manage this stuff. And the professionals in the Office of Campaign and Political Finance, they're doing their jobs. And they'll send you a letter and they'll say, here are the things that you need to fix. And what we say is, thank you so much for making sure that we get on track. And then you fix it. And you move forward.
And don't make the same mistake.
And that has happened, I believe, with everybody's accounts, and that's what they're there for,
I remember
it's all part of the process.
We were doing a fundraiser. I'm like, I got some stuff. I have a business, so I said, I got some stuff. We'll just kick it in here and we'll do a raffle. And the people that are on the campaign committee are like, oh, you can't do raffles. I'm like, really?
See, they're looking out for you.
Right. And then they're like, but you can't just give stuff away because that's looked at and perceived by what was it? The Office of Campaign is perceived as not accounting for a donation. So even though it's yours and it comes from your business, they still want you to list it and have it go through as a donation kind of thing, because if not, you could own the candy store and say to every kid that comes through town, candy's free, the ice cream's free, But that's not,
But
that's
Mr.
a back
Mayor,
way of
this
getting.
is an incredibly in the weeds conversation,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
And that's exactly why folks like auditors exist,
Yes.
right? Because most folks, frankly, don't have the time to
Right.
be
On top of
analyzing
every
the
new thing that's out.
intricacies of
Yeah.
every single little last detail. So that's what auditors are there to help with, right? They're there to help to do that
The problem comes
for these folks.
I think the problem comes about when, for political reasons, somebody takes the audit and they start waving it around and they're like, look, this guy, this person doesn't know what they're doing, there's shady stuff going on, and you got an audit, and the auditors the state had to step in and tell them to do this. No, there are times when people are just blatant about this stuff that you got to step in, and it is maybe criminal on some occasions. But if you're in this business long enough, there's somewhere along the line something's going to happen that you're going to have to correct.
And I do think
Yeah.
it's important, to say this. Our audits, again, we don't do, investigations
No,
into
I know.
individuals
Right.
personally, right? That
But
is something that's
system-wide, you're
systems
you're
is what we
recommending
audit,
something.
right.
Somebody could take the audit and say, look, they weren't doing what they were supposed to. The auditor had to tell them what to do. So you know how it is in politics. People use those things against you, right? They use those things. And that's what I'm saying. It's really a benefit to us to have an audit done in the city, to have, all those agencies that you audit, to do that. I mean, that's really, nonprofits.
Audits are a good thing.
Yeah, they're
and I actually
excellent.
tell people this all the time when we'll be talking about the legislature, because look, I served in the legislature for 10 years. And I made a lot of friends in there,
You have any friends anymore?
Some of them may not want to be friends with me right now during this moment.
It's
but,
like, oh no,
yeah,
here comes
exactly.
Diana. Let's run to the other side of the.
And I'm like, guys, wait for me,
yeah,
But
let's go to lunch. Like,
yeah. But look, in all seriousness, I actually, and I know people are very frustrated with our legislature lately. We've been ranked as the least transparent legislature in the nation. We were recently ranked as the least efficient, or at least effective state legislature in the nation. That's not great, right? So the legislature has a lot of work to do. But I will tell you this. I have a lot of love for our legislature and for our legislators. I just also love transparency and accountability and accessibility. And those two things should not be so mutually exclusive. Right. And, there's this idea up on Beacon Hill right now at the State House amongst legislators that if you're supporting the audit of the legislature, that you're somehow against them personally.
Right,
That's
right.
just
not
not
at all.
That's just not the reality.
And each of those legislators have a job to do.
Right.
And they need to go back to be accountable to the people. So this isn't a sling against them. It's just more of a common sense kind of a thing.
We just want accountability.
It doesn't make any sense, this whole thing.
And it's not personal. It is the law. And it is an analysis of processes and procedures, not those legislators individually, right?
Right.
So, why wouldn't you want
I like
us to
the
take a
Speaker.
look at the books?
He's a sporty guy, and I don't know the Senate president all that well, but the Speakers are pretty sporty people,
Pretty what people?
Sporty,
Sporty?
Nice people. They look like they're doing the job for the right reasons.
I will pass it on next time the speaker
I don't
says
know.
hello to me.
Yeah, I get that. And so it becomes one of those things like, just go along with it. So you've done all these other...
The question is, Mr. Mayor, it is always what are you hiding? Because to your original point, when I came in today, it was kind of thought when we were trying to pass this on the ballot, and we went out and we campaigned and we were asking people for the votes to pass this. It was, a question of, well, why are they pushing back? Is it just pride? Is it just arrogance? Is it just that?
And what's the answer?
They're not used to being audited, so they
I
just don't
wanna
want
know.
it.
What's the answer?
And during that time period, I think that people were a little bit, not fully understanding, but a little bit more understanding to, okay, well, we need to vote for this, and it's a campaign.
Right.
But now it's no longer a campaign, and it's the law.
Right.
So now that it's no longer up for discussion,
There it
to
is.
continue
It's the law,
to continue
not politics.
to exactly to continue to push back, that's where people are saying,
What's up?
what is the issue? What are you hiding that you're willing to blatantly break state law to hide whatever it is, right?
What are you worried about?
We can't imagine that. I mean,
How many minutes do we have left here? 3.
Oh, 3 minutes.
That
wow.
thing's got me all messed up over there. All right. So you've been state rep. You've done it all, right? Now you're auditor. You probably have the name that most people ever recognize. The most, if somebody says you recognize this name, people are like, yeah, it's the auditor.
Yeah, they might
Joe
be able to
DiNucci
recognize it. They just can't pronounce it.
Right, but Joe DiNucci was a high-profile people.
Yeah.
But you are. I mean, you've pretty much created this thing. So does this mean a run for Congress down the road, or governor or lieutenant governor? I mean, at some point you got this high-profile name here, and people know who you are, and I think your favorability rating is probably pretty good, since 72%. Does that shift gears into something else?
Look, I am in recovery from the ballot campaign right now. You have to understand,
Yeah,
Mr.
I know.
Mayor.
No, I understand.
Here's what I'll say. I campaigned for almost 2 years for state auditor, and I had 2 very tough races. I had a very tough primary challenge.
Yep.
I had a very tough general election challenger. And by the way, I'm very excited that my general election challenger has been very friendly with us. He's been fully supportive of our efforts. And I just actually grabbed a meal with him recently. We talked about all the work of the office. So that's great. But when I won that campaign, it was almost immediately after that we started this ballot campaign, a statewide ballot campaign, where we, thanks to a lot of folks actually from this area, were able to collect 100,000 signatures to get this issue on the ballot. We raised money for that. We campaigned for that. It was a hard campaign, right?
Yeah, but
I was leading
But you bounced back fast.
Thank you for saying that.
So
but I will
your
tell
high favorability is,
I'm in recovery right now.
I know, but whether you like it or not,
totally on doing the job right now.
But the problem is your high favorability is probably as high as it's going to get, probably, right? I mean, it may go up a little bit. So it's a question of your personal career, whether you take advantage of that and try to run for another office, or if you're just like, hey, you know what, this ain't a bad gig.
I'm focused on doing my job.
All right, I'm just asking.
There is so much good work going on in the auditor's office, and it is actually the honor and privilege of my life to be able to serve in this type of a capacity. You heard my story, Mr. Mayor. This was never something that was even a possibility for someone like me growing up.
I understand, sure.
And to be elected to a statewide role and to be able to have worked on an issue like that ballot campaign and have been successful in getting that passed because you supported it, it has been an incredibly humbling opportunity to work to make sure that law is actually implemented, and that has my focus right now.
1 minute? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Only 1 minute, man. I feel like I just got here. There's so many topics to cover.
Well, anyway, I just want to remind everybody the art show, the youth art show, starts tonight at 6 o'clock. We'll be there. We won't be live, but we'll be taping. We'll show it, segments of it, and we'll show some on our show. But thank you for coming on tonight and today and being here, and we'll watch and see what happens.
Thanks for having me, Mr. Mayor.
And again, no slight to our legislator or anybody else. It's like, have a group hug somewhere and say, you know what, just go ahead and not. And you're probably not going to find, I don't think you're probably going to find anything too exciting. Or maybe, maybe you will, but who cares? You just correct those things and move on.
Just get to say it. It's not politics, it's the law.
Right. There you go.
Love you so much.
Well, have a drink of water here. I told you, she got more energy than me. So anyway, thanks for watching Inside Leominster. Next week is the rec department. The following week is Bay State Racing. Good night. God bless you. Remember, the world is run by those who show up. Thanks for showing up. Good night.
Inside Leominster is brought to you in part through the generous support of N.P. Crowley Company Incorporated and by DeCarolis Insurance Agency Incorporated, DeCarolisinsuranceagency.com, and by Enterprise Bank. Enterprise Bank creates success. EnterpriseBanking.com.
This is LTV.
Again, when this is high this year, because when we budgeted the 25 budget, we always look at the original budget, and we took the numbers from the original budget, but we had an appropriation last year,